Cameron, do you own all of your masters?
Yes.
So you've never signed a deal where you've signed out your masters to another label or another entity at all?
Actually, there's a very few projects that I've worked on, like sync projects, where I don't own the masters to that music. So there are majoritively, yes.
Yeah.
To like any song you've ever heard me perform, yes.
Yeah.
Any song I've ever written, no.
Okay. But as insofar as your artist work,
yeah,
you own your masters.
Yes, my artist project.
Yeah. It's the same for me. And the reason I brought it up is because owning your masters is something we kind of often talk about in the context of big name artists.
Yeah.
This is kind of a trend.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She quite famously spent 10 years sort of just like getting her masters back.
Or rebuilding her catalog, re-recording her catalog when she couldn't get her masters back.
Yeah. Another famous band, the band Def Leppard, which is a huge band in the 80s.
Yeah.
They didn't have control of their masters, and so they meticulously re-recorded their entire catalog as 20, 30 years later to get their masters, to claim their masters.
Yeah.
And so owning masters has now become kind of a thing that is becoming more and more important. In the old days, it was basically a given. As an artist, you were not going to own your masters.
Yeah.
But as independent artists, that story is kind of changing. And a lot of the small deals that you might do with like a label like the kind that I own, there's a pretty decent chance that you're going to be able to at least negotiate the rights to your masters.
Yeah. And I think, when we go back in time and we talk about those old deals, like that era, I think it made sense, right? If the label is going to pay for everything, it's going to be their studio. It's going to be their engineer.
Yeah.
They're going to bring in songwriters. They're going to help you create the material. And naturally, they're going to want to own that material. I don't think we're in a place anymore where that's relevant, right? Like, you're probably doing your own songwriting.
Right. And your own recording.
And your own distribution.
Yeah.
So, it makes more sense now for you to own that.
So, should we say really quickly what masters are?
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Master is your ownership of the song, your ownership of the right to reproduce the song, your ability to recreate in any size, your ownership of the original recording. Yes, the actual sound reproduction rights. So who owns the actual song?
The recording of the song.
Not the songwriting, not the publishing, not who owns the lyric writing, but who owns essentially who owns the exported version of the song.
Yeah. So quite famously, and you can go back, we have a whole series about this in our How Musicians Get Paid, where we explain this in great detail.
Yes.
But we're
much more simplified than what I gave you.
We're always explaining this. There's always two buckets to a song. There's the publishing and the master. The publishing is the composition of the song.
Yep.
The master is the recording of the song. And so there is a really great article, I should say, there's a really great post by a blog called Buzz Music LA. I think their main thing is to promote local LA bands.
That's cool.
But they do some kind of education and some information on their Instagram, which of course we will link to in our show notes or in our description. Definitely encourage you to check that out, to follow them. And of course, if you're in LA, tap it. I don't know them, but they're probably worth tapping in. I don't vouch for them. But they do tend to post a lot of interesting music industry stuff. And so they have this post that's called 8 Ways Independent Artists Can Protect Their Masters in 2026.
Oh, that's cool.
And I just thought we'd go over those because I think it's some really great advice and more people need to hear it.
Yeah.
So number 1, they say, which we already covered, is learn what a master is before signing anything. They say to understand the difference between masters, publishing, and distribution so that you know what you're negotiating.
Absolutely.
And of course, like I said, our How Musicians Get Paid series really goes over that in extreme detail. So find that on YouTube.
Yes.
Wholesome
check
Music
that
Podcast, How Musicians Get Paid. We have a separate playlist for that. Number 2, they say, and we've talked about this too, but read every contract with an entertainment lawyer.
That's right.
Not your friend.
Not your dad who is also a lawyer, but not in entertainment. With the entertainment lawyer.
Not Google.
Not ChatGPT.
They say, and we agree, you need an actual music attorney who works for you.
Yes.
And why is that so important, Cameron?
Well, with every contract, especially in the entertainment industry, it's going to be different. So the contract that you might write for like a sports, like if you're getting signed to the Los Angeles Lakers, definitely a different language in the contract as to what do you own, what can you use, things about like, I mean, if you're in sports, it's probably going to be more about your likeness and about your ability to perform and where you are.
But your likeness might show up
in entertainment contract too. But there's going to be specific things like, as we were talking about writing and publishing, there's just going to be specific language that's best by someone who knows the entire industry. And the other thing that's cool about an entertainment specific lawyer is they will have had the opportunity to see many contracts. So they'll have a relationship with like, oh, I've seen other contracts from that have come around recently. So they're not going to be shooting in the dark the way you might be like, oh, I don't know, this looks good. I don't have any base of like another contract I've ever seen. So like, I don't know, it sounds like a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And the secret sauce of it too is if the other party has a lawyer, if you're in the same town, there's a pretty decent chance that your lawyer knows their lawyer.
Yeah.
They're professional
connections.
Yeah, and they're colleagues. And so they have a way of negotiating on your behalf. They have extra ability to negotiate on your behalf. And of course, we're not lawyers. This isn't legal advice, but law is always built up on precedent and case law upon case law. And so there's just things that, because we're not lawyers, we don't know, you don't know. I can't even tell you what it is that I don't know.
Yeah.
But there really are.
But they can. The entertainment lawyer can tell you exactly what you don't know, and they know it, so you don't have to.
And if you're signing a contract with somebody who they're lawyered up, then they might
do the same.
Well, exactly, because they might
protect yourself.
They might have clauses in there and things in there that again, you're not even aware of how much, how much this potentially hurts you or whatever it may be. So just do that. It's definitely worth doing.
Yeah.
They say to avoid deals that require full master ownership in exchange for exposure. Specifically, they say exposure is not a payment structure.
Yeah, I think this should be true for all artists at pretty much all levels of your career.
Yeah.
Exposure is not a level of compensation. Exposure is, let me repeat it, is not a form of compensation. You should never be getting paid by, oh yeah, you should do this. Come on, do this session for me because like I'm big. Usually that's not going to work out the way you think. And you know what? Maybe there's a few people who've had good experiences, but overall, that's not going to work out the way you think.
No. We said it before, but like you're worth getting paid for.
Yeah, you're worth getting paid for. You're worth doing a trade for. Even if you can't financially like pay this person, or they can't pay you, but you guys really want to work together, usually you can find some way, something that you do and that they do that you can exchange together to make that trade worthwhile and to make this interaction valuable for both parties.
I would say, to build on that, if you were insistent, you really felt like this gig for exposure was for whatever reason worth your time and effort to do, then at least when we're talking, this is a little bit outside the world of masters, but at least have that repayment kind of specified.
Yes.
Specify it, right? Don't just be like, well, they're going to get this exposure and they're famous. Like, then if that is alluring to you and you really think there's some juice behind that's to squeeze,
you are going to drive at least 10,000 viewers, new people, new subscribers to my page through our collaboration before January 1st, 2027.
Yeah.
That is a achievable, that is an achievable, quantifiable goal that you can actually set and see, hey, was this collaboration worth it for me after I did it?
You will do 5 collaborative posts. You will send an email to your mailing list about me, whatever it is. Yeah. They say use independent distribution platforms that you retain ownership. They mentioned the DistroKids and the TuneCores as platforms that are out there. Of course, you should check the writing and the fine print on these as well, but typically these do not take any publishing. So this is a way that you can retain all the publishing, is by bypassing any sort of third party, bypassing any label deal or distro deal, and just putting it up yourself.
But Augustus, You said that whenever I'm signing a deal or working with a label or a distribution company, they might try to take my masters. Is that what happens when I upload my music to DistroKid or to TuneCore or to any one of these AWOL worlds? Is that what's going to happen to me?
I am so glad that you're asking this question. This is such an important question for you to check into. By and large, generally speaking, this isn't permanent, but no. But we have to say that, of course, because as we know, the terms and conditions are always changing. The one thing I can say is I have seen instances with artists that we've had signed that they were putting up music previously through DistroKid, and they were in fact giving away some of their either masters or publishing. I can't remember, but DistroKid was actually taking a portion of their publishing. Of their pub. Yep.
So that's true, I believe, with TuneCore as well. But you have to subscribe to a certain part of their plan, and they will take a certain part of your master and of your publishing, I believe, when you sign up for them to do like additional distribution services. I'm not like super in depth into what it is, but
that's what it was. Yeah, it's like if you sign up for them to do like their pitching where they'll pitch to sync.
Yep.
So that is something to watch out for. But
for the most part, when you are putting your music on DistroKid or TuneCore, wherever it is, if you're using the base plan, you're just putting your music onto DSPs, onto Spotify, onto Apple Music, wherever, you're going to be, for the most part, blanket statement, okay.
Yeah.
But read the terms of services. Go check out people like Top Music Attorney. We've mentioned them here before. They're incredible. They actually do a deep dive into all of the terms and services of the products you use. So if you want someone to read it out loud to you, because you're like, I don't want to sit here and read that, and you want it to be a lawyer, that's one place you can get that. Otherwise, just kind of familiarize yourself and know what you know.
Now, here's one that I love, and this is something we've never said here, talked about here on the Wholesome Music Podcast.
Yes.
They say to negotiate licenses and not transfers. Do you want to take a stab at that, or do you want me to
jump into that?
Okay, so what they're talking about is the difference between licensing and owning. So licensing is essentially the entire game of the music industry.
Yeah, like generally, I would offer for you to license my song in your TV show. That means you can use it, but you don't own my song. I still retain ownership over my song. You're using it. You have a license maybe for 5 years or for 10 years, or maybe you have a license in perpetuity, meaning you can use it forever.
Yeah.
But I still own this thing. Maybe I could still license it to somebody else.Maybe I could use it. Maybe I could perform it on tour myself.
Yep.
While it's still licensed to you, or maybe you have an exclusive license, versus like a transfer where I'm guessing I'm transferring ownership to you.
Straight up, I own your music now.
You own it now.
So this is wonderful. If you are in a position where you're signing with a label, you're signing with some kind of indie label or even a bigger label, and you've got some leverage, and they're coming to you, and you're financing your own recordings and doing all that, then one of the things that you can do, and I definitely encourage you to have this conversation, is to say, okay, well, I'm not just going to give you an indefinite license to my music. First of all, I'm going to own my masters in my pub, and let's just say that's decided. Yeah. Then the next question the label's going to come back with is, if they agree to that, they're going to say, okay, then we'll own we'll exclusively license that in perpetuity, right? We'll have the license. So yeah, you own it, but we're going to be the only people who can really execute or exploit that, right?
Yeah.
So then you can say, how about let's do a 2-year, a 5-year, a 10-year exclusive license where the label gets to do what they do for a set amount of time.
Yeah.
And then after that, it reverts back to you. And again, not legal advice, but you can do things like have re-ups on those.
Yeah, you could have options on it.
Yeah, so there's lots of things you could do, which is why, of course, you need to go to your lawyer and work that out. But this way, if you find yourself in a bad deal, or if you find yourself in a good deal and your song blows up, and it's your song is a one-hit wonder and it's licensed by Disney and it's this huge song. in 5 years, you will own, or whatever you negotiate, you will own that master of that song. It'll come back to you. And so now you'll have the ability to then relicense it to somebody who might be able to do more with it, or hold on to it and do things yourself.
Yeah.
You have a lot of options.
Re-leverage that same asset, versus if you had transferred it or sold it, you would either have to go buy that back, or you just lose the asset.
Mm-hmm. And so this gets us to their next one, which is to treat your catalog like intellectual property and not content.
Yeah.
Because this is what you were saying, right? It's like, it's not just some content that you're just giving away.
Yeah.
It is an actual asset. You can kind of think about it as a kind of physical object.
Yeah, you think about it like even like a stock.
Yeah.
You know, your music, you can think of kind of like a stock.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, you can license this out, or you can borrow this. Here, Cameron, you know, here, you can borrow this, and you can use this now for 5 years, and you can make your money off of it for 5 years. But then the 5 years is up, and now I get it back, and it's mine. That's basically what a license is.
It's a bummer. I do miss it. I'd like to license it again.
and maybe you can, but now we can
renegotiate.
Yeah.
You could probably charge me a little more this time, because I do like the product.
Right.
So I would like to license it again.
So they also say to register your recordings properly, registering with performing rights organizations and sound recording registries, so that your royalties actually reach you. Again, we go into great deal about this in our How Musicians Get Paid.
Yes,
if you want to know the deep, we went
down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We went all the way down.
like we like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that is definitely worth checking out if you want to know more about that. But we'll just say, register your recordings properly.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this, go find the YouTube where we talk about that, because that's where that is. And finally, they say, walk away from deals that feel rushed.
Yeah.
And they say that pressure is a red flag in music contracts. And you'll see this a lot when you're signing, when labels are courting artists. Sometimes it takes years to go from the introduction stage, the discussion stage, to signing a record stage.
Yeah.
So, and I would say, actually, just to expand on that, they say walk away from deals that feel rushed. I'll also just say walk away from deals that feel wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I think this is 2026. We're not in the era where you need to be signed to a major. You don't need to be signed at all.
Or even an indie.
You don't need to be signed at all. You can do this yourself. If you do feel compelled to work with someone, make sure you know what you're getting from it, and you know what they're getting from it. Mm-hmm. Just make sure you have clarity, protect yourself, protect your masters, and work hard in 2026.
Absolutely. So that was 8 ways independent artists can protect their masters by Buzz Music LA. We encourage you to check out their page, and of course to stick with us, because we'll have more content like this all the time.
That's right.
So with that, I think we'll just say, what are some ways that you are protecting your masters in 2026? What is it that you're doing? If there's anything that we missed, leave a comment to let us know, so that you can put us on game. Thank you for watching the Wholesome Music Podcast, the DIY podcast for DIY musicians. My name is Augustus Watkins.
My name is Cam LJ.
We are doing this content at least twice a week, so please join us on the main feed. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.
Yes.